Hola clase! Welcome to the second tutorial on how to conjugate reflexive verbs. This time we're focusing on dun dun dun, the stem changers. The stem changers, as you may remember, are also called boot verbs because they take a spelling change inside the boot. You probably remember doing this with verbs like tener, querer, what other ones? Dormir, jugar. They took that spelling change inside the boot. The reflexive verbs that are stem changers on our list are despertarse. Despertarse means to wake up. I always think about being desperate when I wake up. To wake up, despertarse. This little parentheses here tells you what the spelling change is going to be. How do you know where its stem changes, where the spelling change happens? Well, I'll show you in a second. Let's look at the rest of our reflexive verbs. We have divertirse, which is easy to remember because that's like divertido, which means fun. Divertirse means to have fun. You have to be careful because the endings of these verbs change. This one is an AR verb. An AR verb. This one is an IR verb. Sentirse means to feel, and it's an IE stem changer too, but it's an IR verb, so you have to make sure that your endings match the IR endings. Acostarse means to go to bed. So this is actually different because it's a UE stem changer. Dormirse means to fall asleep. It's different when you go to bed because you don't fall asleep right away usually, unless you're me and you just do both at once. But dormirse is when you drift off, you fall asleep. So this one is an IR verb too, so you have to pay attention to that IR ending, and the stem change is UE. Now you've conjugated this verb before probably, so it'll look familiar. I realize that mantenerse isn't on our list, so I'll take it off. Ponerse isn't really a stem changer, but it has a weird yo form. If you remember the penguin that we had from the beginning of the year when we did go-go verbs, remember what our penguin's name was? Okay, well, we'll look at that in a second. So these guys are a little trickier because you have to remember a couple extra things. So I'll send you a Quizlet to help you practice, but this is a little trickier. You have to remember what the stem change is. So we either have IE or UE. And then you also have to pay attention to if it's an AR verb, an IR verb. We don't have any, we have an ER verb here. So you have to pay attention to that as well. Let me show you what this is going to look like. So you have the verb despertarse, and you're like, what do I do to conjugate this verb? It looks so intimidating. Well, remember, there are just steps, and as long as you remember the steps, it's not that difficult. So we put our say in our pocket. Remember, we'll take it out later. And the parentheses here tell me that it's a boot verb. So inside the boot, there's going to be a spelling change. Well, where does that spelling change happen? I mean, there are a lot of letters here. So, like, where does it happen in this word? Well, you go to the AR, ER, or IR ending, and you go one vowel before. The one vowel before the AR, ER, or IR ending is the one that's going to stem change in the boot. That's just a rule. So you go to the AR, ER, or IR ending, and you go one vowel before, and this guy is going to be the one that stem changes. So that's how you know. Now, another little trick to remember is that we have two stem change types. In Spanish, there are actually three, but we only have two on our list. We have IE, like despertarse, and UE. Now, it's easy to remember which one you're going to use because E's can only change to IE, and U's can only change to UE, or O's can only change to UE. So right here I see, okay, that's an E. It's going to change to IE. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to conjugate my verb despertar. It's an AR verb. It's going to have an IE stem changer in the boot. So DESP. All right, here it's going to go IE, RT, and yo ends in O. Despierto. Coming on down to the to form. So yo despierto. The to form, I'm still inside the boot. DESP. And see this E right here? Okay, that's going to change to my IE. IERT. My to ending for AR is AS. Despiertas. LA and usted all share. We're still inside the boot. So I'm just going to put in my stem change, IE, RT, and LA and usted end in the vowel. And the vowel here is AR, so A. Good, despierta. Outside the boot, no stem change. No stem change. No stem change in nosotros and vosotros. So I just chuck on along, despertamos and despertais. No stem change. Now I'm back inside the toe part right here, the toe part. So ellos and ustedes, there's my stem change, IE, RT, and my ending for AR verbs for ellos and ustedes is AN. Yes, it's kind of like rubbing your head and patting your tummy, or patting your head and rubbing your tummy and jumping up and down at the same time. There's a lot of things going on, but as long as you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to conjugate this. It has a stem change and an ending. So, stem change, ending. Stem change. Whoops, get my little color here. Ending. So, you do have an additional thing happening, but it's not rocket science. We're just making a little spell change and adding the ending. So let's try it again. Let's take a look at acostarse. So the first thing I look at this verb is I'm like, okay, so it's a UE stem changer. And I also look to see, oh, it's an AR verb because that's going to affect the ends. So here I go. I'm going to take off my say, put it in my pocket for later. We're just conjugating the boot verbs. We're not dealing with the little metes, says in front yet. So I just put it AC. Now my O, remember what I told you? You go to the AR, ER, or IR ending, and it's the vowel before. That's how you know. Here you are on your AR, and you're like, bing. That's the letter that changes. So it's a U-E-S-T, yo ends in O, aquesto. Still inside the boot, to ends in AS. Still inside the boot, LA usted, it's an AR verb, A. So all my A's because it's an AR verb, just like the last one. Outside the boot, no change outside the boot. No. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to put acostamos. Acostais. No change. Now I'm back in the toe part for ellos and ustedes. So I use my stem changer again, and ellos and ustedes ends in AN. So we do have two things going. So pat your head and rub your tummy. You got to do both at the same time. So both of these, despertarse and acostarse, are AR verbs. Okay, whew. Here we go. This is an IR verb. Just have to remember it's just a slightly different set of endings. So here we go. Take my say off and I have the verb divertir. I notice that it's going to change to IE. Which one changes? Which letter? There's my ending and I go one vowel before, and that tells me there it is, that E is going to change to an IE. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can do this. I'm going to go slow. D-I-V. The E changes to an IE. RT, yo ends in O. Because I'm in the present tense. Yo ends in O. Coming on down, I'm still in the boot. Now, my to ending for an IR verb, remember? ER and IR are friends, they do the same thing. Diviertes. LA usted, still inside the boot. I just end it with my vowel, drop that S. Divierte. Nosotros, outside the boot. Woohoo! No change outside the boot. No, 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 no. No change here. Nope. No change here. So I'm just going to plug along like divertimos. Remember, it's an I ending. And vosotros, because the story of friendship is it hangs out with E, and then it needs a little space, and then it wants to be friends again with E. Divertis. Whoops. And I'm back inside the toe part, so D-I-V-I-E-R-T, and my ellos and ustedes ending for an IR verb. Yeah, divierten. It seems like a lot, but I think if you take a piece of paper and you keep on practicing, I'll send you the flashcard Quizlet that has these stem changers on them, and you just keep practicing. Remember, nothing comes easy. Sometimes you have to put in a little more time. Okay, this guy, ponerse, isn't really a stem boot verb, but I put him in here because I wanted to show you. Remember poner? Remember the go-go and the yo-yo? So when you conjugate him, remember he's pongo. And then the rest of the conjugations are just regular ER endings, ponemos. Whoops. Trying to get all my things lined up. Pones. Pardon me. It's the end of the day. And then, yeah, ponen. So this is the only weird one. Pongo. Remember Pongo the penguin? Other than that, everybody else just follows regular ER conjugations. Okay, so we did all of that conjugating. Inside the boot, we made the change. And then we put our endings on, depended if it was an AR verb or an IR verb. Now, step two. Step two, we have to remember, we have to remember what to do with our little pronouns. Do you remember what our pronouns were? Whoops, here we are. We have to take that say out of our pocket. Hello, say. Oh, long time no see. So, 4 of them we already knew. Remember, it was from indirect and direct objects. Me, te. And then if we were talking about we used nos. If we were talking about yins in Spain, we used os. Now, he, she, and usted, this one's a little different. But remember from the first tutorial, it's sitting here on the end of the verb. So if you happen to forget, just remember the infinitive. So the reflexive pronoun for he, she, or usted is se. And the reflexive pronoun for they or you all is se. So, guys, just pull from what you know. You remember me llamo Sanchez, me llamo. You remember the question, if I can write it, ¿Cómo te llamas? Right? And then you remember from doing lucha libre, remember we were talking about your wrestler, your luchador, you said se llama. We were doing that at the beginning of the year, so just pull that information back to the front of your head. There you go. That's how you conjugate it. And remember, me, te, se, then you can remember the other 3. That's easy. Nos, os, and se. So, okay, we have to put it together. We have to put together step 1, which is conjugating, and step 2, which is putting that little pronoun in front. So, I fall asleep. Dormirse. First thing you have to remember is that it's a boot verb and the change is UE. That O right there is going to change to a UE. Well, let's not make it yellow. Let's make it red. All right. So take your say off. We'll put them in your pocket. Can't forget about them. Let's conjugate dormir for yo. So D, stem changer because we're in the boot, U-E-R-M, and yo ends in O. Okay, take the say back out of your pocket and you're going to make it match yo. Which one of the 6